talk around identity continues to focus on addressability, on targeting, on finding the consumer that you want to reach and reaching them. And I think we're not focusing enough attention on what happens after, on measurement, on using the connective tissue between having reached someone with a message and what happens afterwards, and how to make that happen more frequently. So I think the future of identity needs to be focused on that outcome and on the round trip. We'll talk a little bit about Symitri, but our business has 3 significant data points, and they're tied together with identity. We know who's on the addressable target list, who we're trying to reach. We know who saw the ad, and for the most part, we know who returned, who converted, who came back within a reasonable period of time after having seen that ad. And that's a round trip. The discussion has primarily been in that first phase to date, and I think we need to think about the circle, because the circle enables us to optimize and to drive an outcome, drive better performance, drive better results for the buyer in a way that we designed the internet for in the first place. So we are, at our core, a performance marketing technology company. But as I stated a little while ago, we built the business on an uncompromising promise of privacy and data protection. And that promise, that data protection promise, means that our clients trust us. They believe that when we say we don't share data assets with any other party, we put their data behind the privacy firewall, that we actually do that. And because that's what we do, and because our clients trust us to do what we say we do, they're willing to avail us to a level of insight, a level of data, a level of specificity about their audiences that they wouldn't normally let any other company in the ad tech ecosystem see. So if you forward the tape a little while with AI, another big word by here, Eric can, I believe that within a year from now, models, agents, they're all commodity. Everyone will have access to the library of the AI that is necessary for whatever the function is. And the differentiation will not be that you have or have not AI. It will be the data that you have to train the AI and the quality of the data that you have to train the AI. We think we'll have better quality data because we're trusted not to share that data, and that data that we have will enable us to create better performance for the buyer in real time at the speed and scale of programmatic. That's our focus of the business, and right now we're using the ID5 product. It's a very effective scaled identity as connective tissue on that circle of target to seeing the ad to responded to the ad. And our next wave of development will be to bring in all that data that we're being entrusted with to really drive the performance. I'm not concerned about law or not law. What I'm concerned about is the loosey-goosey business practices that our industry continues to do, that is alienating consumers from the very business that we're in, and that is destroying the value of the data that's entrusted between a consumer and an entity, a publisher or an advertiser. I talk to brands, publishing brands and advertising brands, about the privilege they have to own data. And that when you have a consumer who says, yeah, I'm okay with you knowing that, or I'm cool with you targeting me, or I'm cool with you using what you know about my purchase history to deliver something of value to me, and then you blow that privilege by giving away that data, what are you doing? That's gold. Your data is your gold. Law or not, the conversation, in my view, should be changing from whether I have to protect data to whether I should be because it's commercially advantageous to me. If we can get in the mindset that there's a commercial value to the data, the law is almost irrelevant because people will protect data because it's got a value. That's where I think we need to go. It doesn't really bother me that we don't have a national law. In fact, I prefer one just because complying with, I think it's 20 US states at this point, pain in the ass. But if we didn't have one and folks understood the value of the data, it would almost be unnecessary. Surprisingly, I thought I would come here and everybody would be talking about AI up and down the corset. And the reality is that they haven't. The two things I'm hearing most is curation. That phrase is on everybody's tongue. The shifting of control, insight, and to some degree power from buy side to sell side, very top of mind. There's been some, like a subtext in that part of the conversation has a little bit been the curation, just talking about it because it's a cool new word, and actually adding value in the inventory and what's the difference. So there's been a little bit of those of us in the know kind of calling out the guys who are bullshitting. So curation has been a category. I've heard that a lot. And I am also glad in our space in identity data protection, there has been a lot of talk about the value of data. A year ago when I was talking about Symitri in its very earliest days, and I talked about how publishers were concerned about pushing data in the bid stream because it's a commoditizing factor for their inventory, there wasn't like a universal recognition that I was right. I was like, oh, that's interesting. This year, I've said that same phrase, and 100% of the time, everyone's looking at me like, yeah, of course, like we all know that. I knew that last year, I just didn't admit it. Anyway, those two categories, curation and data as an asset, data as a differentiated value that shouldn't be given away. I'm hearing that a lot on the street.